Hi, my name is Abigail Salisbury. I'm a Pennsylvania licensed attorney and I practice in the Pittsburgh area. I focus my practice on working with nonprofits and small businesses. And one of the most common questions that I get asked is how to form a nonprofit in the first place. So, a lot of people have a project that they want to formalize. Maybe they've been running it out of their living room or their basement, or maybe it's something totally new that they want to get started. And so they show up because they've been asked, do you have C3 status? So for those who don't know, 501c3 denotes a certain kind of nonprofit. There are quite a few different kinds, but a C3 is one that would be something like a charitable or religious organization, educational, advancing sporting interests. There's a few different formats of that. But when you think of the average nonprofit, what most people are thinking of is a C3. In order to form a C3 in Pennsylvania, you have to begin because a C3 is actually an IRS federal designation that means that you're tax exempt. So in order to form the organization itself, you have to start at the state level. So at the state level, what you first do is you form a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation. So by doing that, you've actually formed a legal entity. And if you are taking in money at all, that is the first thing that you want to do because you want to get yourself set up with a separate bank account that has absolutely nothing to do with your personal finances. Do not commingle those funds. So once you have set up a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation, you need to get an employer identification number for that. An EIN is kind of like a social security number for your business or your nonprofit. It gives it a unique identifier. So once you get that, then you should also create bylaws. So bylaws are the general governing instrument that is going to set forth how you hold meetings, when you hold meetings, how your organization runs, who's allowed to have access to banking materials, just the general skeletal structure of how your organization functions. Should have a statement of purpose, what the goal of your organization is in there. So those three items, the state filing, the EIN, and the bylaws are typically what's going to allow you to go and get a bank account. So as I said, get yourself that bank account, separate everything from your personal finances, do not commingle funds. The next thing that you're going to need to do is I like to have your board members sign a board member agreement and a conflict of interest form. So what the board is, and again, you need a board. A lot of people come into my office and they basically want to be the dictator of a nonprofit. You can't do that. If you want to run something and be completely in charge of it for all time, you're welcome to start a business. But a nonprofit is a public entity that has a charitable purpose. So it is supposed to be working for the public good. So you need a board of directors. And I tell people a good number to start with is 5. That way you can have your president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and then an additional member. Do not just go run out and find whoever is the first person who you come across and slap them on your board just to get some names down. Make sure that you choose actually quality people who are going to be dedicated to following through with what they need to do with the organization. They're going to have legal responsibilities. They need to help you in a variety of ways, and they're going to be the governing entity of the organization. So once you have your board set up, then you have them sign a conflict of interest form and also a board member agreement. You are going to be able to go ahead and do your federal filing. Now, if you are anticipating bringing in under $50,000 a year for your first 3 years, which to be honest, most folks will, because $50,000 maybe doesn't sound like an enormous amount of money to raise, but once you start doing it, you're going to find out just how hard it is. So most folks who come to see me are in that category, that under $50,000 category. If you are, you qualify for what's called the EZ track. So you go the 1023 EZ form. It can be submitted online, and that application where you put your board members, you attest that you have bylaws, you answer a variety of questions. You're going to go first through a questionnaire to make sure that you're eligible, because there are other requirements, not just the $50,000. Once you go through that questionnaire, determine you're eligible, you fill out the 1023 EZ, it's submitted online, and then it depends widely how long that takes. If you send up any red flags, you may be asked to submit additional information. And otherwise, you should get a determination if you're approved. It's usually within a few months. If you are over that $50,000 mark, or if you are an organization that does not qualify for the EZ, certain types of organizations just aren't permitted to use it, then you're going to have to use the full 1023. So the 1023 takes a much longer time to fill out and has a much higher filing fee by about $600. And so once you fill that out, you're going to need things like 3 years of financials. So if you haven't really gotten started and you don't have a sense of what your financials are going to be, you need to really sit down and build out some sort of a reality-based budget and figure out where your money's going to come from, what you're going to be spending, that sort of thing. And so you'll have to submit that, and you can submit that hard copy if you choose. And then again, you will get a determination letter back, or you'll get a request for additional information. If you're approved, then you get that determination letter in the mail from the IRS that says something to the effect of, congratulations, you're a tax-exempt organization. And in theory, that's the end of the road as far as formation goes, but in reality, it's not. You have quite a few ongoing obligations. You're going to have yearly filings. You're going to have to make sure you don't lose that status once you've got it. So I can address that in other videos in the future, but that in general is a quick breakdown of how you would form a nonprofit organization. And again, that's going to vary state by state. I'm in Pennsylvania, so this is Pennsylvania specific information, and it's not legal advice because I'm not your attorney, but it just helps a little bit to have a heads up on what the actual process is. So if you would like to find out more about the nonprofit filing process, as I said, I have a blog post on my website, and that is www.asalisbury.org, and just click on blog, and it is very helpfully named How to Start a Nonprofit. So check that out, and hopefully that's been helpful to you. Thanks.